Leonardo da Vinci. Chapter 1. A Curious Boy. My name is Leonardo. I was born a long time ago, in 1452, in a beautiful town called Vinci, nestled in the hills of Italy. My father was a clever lawyer, and my mother was a kind woman who always took good care of me and my siblings. Ever since I was a tiny tot, the world around me seemed like a giant treasure chest overflowing with amazing things. I couldn't stop looking at everything and asking questions. Why did the sky change colors? How did birds fly so high? Where did the flowers get their bright petals? No one seemed to have answers that satisfied my curious mind. I wanted to understand how everything worked, from the tiniest bug to the biggest cloud. One of my favorite things to do was to explore the countryside around Vinci. Rolling hills covered in green vines stretched for miles, and there were always new paths to discover. I would spend hours running through the fields, chasing butterflies with wings as colorful as rainbows. I climbed tall trees that reached towards the sky, feeling like a brave explorer reaching the top of a mountain. And I watched all the animals, the lazy cows chewing grass, the playful rabbits hopping through the meadows, the wise owls perched high in the trees. Every creature seemed to have a secret to tell, a story waiting to be unraveled. But I didn't just play outside. I was also very good at drawing. Any scrap of paper or piece of charcoal I could find became my tools for capturing the world around me. I drew pictures of everything: the animals I saw, the people I met, the landscapes that filled me with wonder. I even tried to draw the clouds that drifted by and the wind that rustled the leaves. My father saw my talent and always encouraged me to keep drawing. But he also wanted me to learn a proper skill to make a living. One day, when I was just a young teenager, my father decided it was time for me to learn from the best. He packed a bag for me and took me on a big journey to a bustling city called Florence. Florence was full of artists, musicians, and all sorts of clever people who made amazing things. Here, my father enrolled me as an apprentice to Andrea Verrocchio, a famous artist and sculptor. Chapter 2. Becoming an artist's apprentice in bustling Florence. Stepping into Florence was like entering a whole new world. The narrow streets buzzed with people hurrying about their business. Carts rumbled by, filled with fresh fruit, vegetables, and colorful fabrics. Tall buildings with beautiful carvings lined the streets, and grand churches with soaring towers reached towards the sky. Compared to quiet Vinci, Florence was a place bursting with energy and excitement. My new home was Andrea Verrocchio's workshop. It was a large, bustling room filled with the sound of hammers clanging, chisels scraping, and paintbrushes swooshing. Everywhere I looked, there were people working on different projects. Some were molding clay into beautiful sculptures. Others were carefully mixing colorful paints, and some were sketching intricate designs on large sheets of paper. The air smelled of fresh wood, paint, and a bit of sweat from all the hard work going on. Verrocchio himself was a tall, imposing man with a thick beard and a serious expression. He was a master of many skills, an artist who could paint lifelike portraits, a sculptor who could create statues that seemed to breathe, and a goldsmith who could craft delicate jewelry. He was a strict teacher, but everyone respected him for his talent and knowledge. Being an apprentice meant starting from the bottom. My first job was sweeping the workshop floor and cleaning up after the other artists. I didn't mind it. It gave me a chance to observe everything that was going on and learn from the more experienced artists. I watched them mix colors, use different tools, and sculpt shapes that came alive in their hands. I soaked up every detail like a sponge, eager to learn all their secrets. As I proved my dedication and hard work, Verrocchio started giving me more responsibility. He let me grind pigments into fine powder to create vibrant paints. I learned how to prepare canvases by stretching thin fabric over wooden frames and coating them with a special white paste to create a smooth surface for painting. Slowly but surely, I was getting closer to actually creating art myself. Verrocchio also gave me tasks that helped him with his own projects. He might ask me to hold a model still while he sculpted, or to mix specific colors according to his instructions. Once, he even entrusted me with painting a small section of a larger artwork. It was a simple background detail, but I felt incredibly proud to be a part of such a grand creation. My days at the workshop were filled with learning and challenges, but they were also a lot of fun. I made friends with other apprentices, young people who were just as passionate about art as I was. We would share our drawings with each other, exchange tips and tricks, and dream about becoming famous artists one day. We even learned a secret handshake, a way to show that we were part of this special group, united by our love for art. One of the best things about working for Verrocchio was the access to learning materials. The workshop had a small library filled with books on art, anatomy, engineering, and even some on the history of the world. Whenever I had a free moment, I would devour these books, eager to expand my knowledge. I learned about the human body and how muscles and bones work together to create movement, something that would later help me draw more realistic figures in my paintings. I studied the techniques used by famous artists from the past, trying to understand their styles and methods. And I read about amazing inventions and machines, sparking my curiosity about the world of science and engineering. Being an apprentice at Verrocchio's workshop wasn't just about learning a specific trade. It was about opening my eyes to the vast possibilities of knowledge and creativity. It was a time of great learning and growth, a foundation that would shape me into the artist and inventor I would become one day. Chapter 3: The Flying Dream. One of the dreams that always danced in my head as a child was the dream of flying. Every time I saw a bird soaring effortlessly through the vast blue sky, a feeling of pure wonder filled me. I imagined myself spreading my own wings and joining them in their graceful flight, feeling the wind rush past my face and seeing the world unfold from a whole new perspective. This wasn't just a fleeting fancy. It was a burning desire that wouldn't be ignored. I spent countless hours observing birds, how they flapped their wings, how they tilted their bodies to catch the wind, how they changed direction with such ease. I'd try to mimic their movements, flapping my arms as hard as I could, hoping to lift myself off the ground. Of course, I never got any closer to the sky, but that didn't stop my mind from buzzing with ideas. I began filling my notebooks with sketches of wings. I drew simple wings like those of birds, but also experimented with more elaborate designs. Giant wings made of feathers, wings with gears and levers, even wings shaped like giant leaves. I imagined different ways to propel myself, using muscles, harnessing the wind, maybe even creating a machine that would do the work for me. My curiosity led me to explore all sorts of materials. I collected feathers of different birds, light and strong. I studied the flexible branches of trees, imagining how they could be used to create a supportive structure for wings. I even tried building small gliders out of wood and paper, hoping to catch a breeze and make them fly. Most of my attempts ended in a pile of crumpled paper or broken wood, but each failure taught me something new. Verrocchio noticed my fascination with flight. He chuckled at my strange sketches and sometimes even helped me find interesting materials for my experiments. He knew the importance of following one's curiosity, even if it led down unusual paths. One day, while exploring an old abandoned building, I stumbled upon a dusty book about ancient myths and legends. It spoke of a mythical creature called Icarus, who dared to fly too close to the sun with wings made of wax and feathers. The story was both fascinating and cautionary. It reminded me that there were dangers in pushing boundaries, but it also fueled my determination to find a safe way to take flight. My fascination with flying wasn't just about the thrill of the experience. I saw it as a way to explore the world in a completely new way. Imagine being able to fly over mountains, see the world from a bird's-eye view, travel to faraway lands without the need for horses or ships. The possibilities seemed endless. Of course, everyone in town thought I was a bit crazy. A boy who dreams of flying? That's nonsense, they'd say. Focus on learning a real skill, Leonardo. But their words didn't deter me. I knew that achieving the impossible required a bit of craziness, a willingness to break away from the ordinary and explore new ideas. While most of my attempts at flying might not have gotten me off the ground, they led me down many incredible paths. My obsession with flight pushed me to learn more about physics, the science of forces, and how they move objects. I studied wind patterns and the effects of gravity. My experiments with wings and gliders helped me understand the importance of balance and aerodynamics, how air flows around objects and creates lift. Even though I never built a flying machine in my youth, the knowledge I gained from these early explorations would be invaluable later in life. The dream of flight never really left me. It fueled my creativity and pushed me to become a lifelong learner. Perhaps one day, humans would indeed be able to soar through the sky like birds. While I might not have achieved that dream myself, I paved the way for others who dared to dream and dared to try. After all, even the impossible can become possible with enough imagination and perseverance. Chapter 4. A Mind Filled with Machines. The world around me was full of fascinating things, but machines held a special place in my heart. From the simple tools used by farmers to the grand clocks adorning town squares, everything with moving parts and gears filled me with a sense of wonder. I wanted to understand how these machines worked, what made them tick, and how they could be improved. My notebooks overflowed with sketches of all sorts of inventions. Some were practical, like improved plows that could till the land more efficiently, or water wheels that could harness the power of rivers to grind grain. Others were more fantastical, like giant catapults that could hurl rocks over long distances, or even self-propelled carts that wouldn't need horses to pull them. No matter how crazy an idea seemed, I would sketch it down. There was no such thing as a bad idea. Sometimes the most outlandish concepts could spark a new invention or lead to a clever solution to a problem. My workshop became a playground for my imagination, filled with gears, springs, levers, and all sorts of odds and ends that could be used to create something new. Verrocchio, ever the wise teacher, encouraged my interest in machines. He recognized the potential in my outlandish ideas and provided me with the resources I needed to explore them further. He allowed me to use the workshop's tools to create prototypes of my inventions, even though some of them seemed borderline ridiculous. One of my first attempts was designing a giant crossbow. It wasn't like the small crossbows used for hunting. This one was meant to be a weapon of war, capable of firing massive bolts that could pierce through castle walls. I spent weeks sketching different designs, figuring out how to create a powerful enough mechanism to launch such heavy projectiles. Of course, building such a giant weapon would have been incredibly expensive and impractical. But the process of designing it taught me a lot about engineering principles, the strength of different materials, and the importance of balancing force and precision. Another project that captured my imagination was the printing press. At the time, books were rare and expensive because they were all copied by hand, a slow and laborious process. I envisioned a machine that could quickly and easily produce copies of books, making knowledge more accessible to everyone. My printing press design used a system of movable type, individual letters and symbols that could be arranged to form words and sentences. Ink would be applied to the raised surface of the type, and then a sheet of paper would be pressed against it, transferring the ink and creating a printed page. This idea wasn't entirely new, but I wanted to refine it and make it faster and more efficient. While I never built a working printing press myself, the idea eventually spread and was perfected by others. The invention of the printing press had a profound impact on the world, making books more affordable and literacy more widespread. It's amazing to think that my early scribbles and ideas could have contributed to such a momentous invention. One of my most daring inventions was a contraption that seemed almost magical, a submarine. This underwater vessel could be propelled by a system of gears and oars, allowing people to explore the depths of the ocean, a world hidden from human eyes. I imagined it with small windows to see the colorful fish and strange creatures that lived below the surface. Of course, building a submarine in the 15th century was a technological feat beyond my reach. But the idea sparked my curiosity about the underwater world and the mysteries it held. It wasn't until centuries later that submarines became a reality, but my early sketches paved the way for those future inventions. Even though most of my inventions never made it past the drawing board, the process of designing them was incredibly valuable. It helped me develop my problem-solving skills, think creatively, and approach challenges from different angles. Each invention, no matter how impractical, taught me something new about the world and how it worked. The world of machines wasn't just about creating fantastical gadgets. It was about understanding the forces that made things move, finding solutions to everyday problems, and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. It was a world that filled me with endless excitement and possibilities, a world that I would continue to explore for the rest of my life. Chapter 5. The human body. The human body was another incredible puzzle that captivated my mind. It wasn't just a shell that housed our thoughts and emotions. It was a complex machine filled with amazing mechanisms that allowed us to move, breathe, think, and feel. I was consumed by a desire to understand how this intricate system worked, from the tiniest bone to the beating heart. Unlike most people at the time, who believed the human body was a mystery best left to doctors and priests, I craved knowledge. Back then, there were strict rules about studying dead bodies. Dissection, the careful cutting open of a body to examine its parts, was frowned upon. But my curiosity couldn't be contained by rules. One night, under the cloak of darkness, I snuck into a medical school where they kept bodies for study. My heart pounded in my chest as I fumbled with the lock on the cold storage room. Inside, a strange smell filled the air, but I pushed past the discomfort, driven by my thirst for knowledge. By the dim light of a lantern, I carefully examined a body laid out before me. With trembling hands, I used a scalpel, a sharp knife used for cutting, to peel back the layers of skin and muscle. Beneath it all, I saw a network of white bones, like a delicate framework holding the body together. I traced the shape of each bone, marveling at its strength and structure. Next, I looked at the muscles, the reddish-pink bundles that allowed us to move our arms and legs. I studied how they connected to the bones and how they contracted and relaxed to create movement. It was like a complex system of pulleys and levers, working together to create smooth and coordinated actions. As I delved deeper, I discovered the heart, a powerful muscle that pumped blood throughout the body. It pulsed steadily, like a tireless drum, sending life-giving blood to every corner of the body. I followed the network of blood vessels like a map, understanding how they carried nutrients and waste products throughout the system. My secret explorations continued. I would buy animal parts from butchers, chicken wings, cow hearts, sheep brains, anything I could dissect to learn more. I filled my notebooks with detailed sketches of every organ, muscle, and bone I examined. I labeled each part carefully, creating a visual map of the human body. It wasn't just the physical parts that fascinated me. I was also curious about the invisible workings of the body. How our brains sent signals to make our muscles move, how our lungs took in air and expelled waste, how our senses allowed us to experience the world around us. While I couldn't dissect a living brain to see how it worked, I observed people's expressions and tried to understand the emotions they displayed. I studied the way people's eyes reacted to light, how their ears picked up sounds, and how their noses distinguished different smells. Of course, my methods of learning about the human body weren't always perfect. Dissection in secret was risky, and my understanding of the brain and other complex organs was limited by the technology of the time. But even with those limitations, my explorations laid the foundation for my future work as an artist. By understanding how the human body worked, I learned how to portray the human form in my paintings and sculptures with more realism and accuracy. I could capture the subtle movements of muscles, the intricate details of bones, and the lifelike expressions of emotions on people's faces. My knowledge of anatomy allowed me to create figures that looked not just beautiful, but also believable and true to life. But my curiosity about the human body wasn't just driven by art. I believed that by understanding how the body worked in health and sickness, we could learn how to heal it and prevent disease. This knowledge was crucial for improving the lives of people and keeping them healthy. My explorations of the human body, full of risks and limitations, were a testament to my insatiable desire for knowledge. Even though I couldn't uncover all the secrets at the time, I opened doors for future doctors and scientists who would build upon my work and push the boundaries of medical understanding. Chapter 6: The Magic of Colors. Of all the things I love to explore, painting held a special place in my heart. It was like weaving magic with my hands, transforming a flat canvas into a window into another world. From the very beginning, I felt a connection to colors and the way they could be used to create emotions and tell stories. Even as a young boy, I would spend hours drawing with any scrap of charcoal or chalk I could find. I'd sketch the rolling hills of Vinci, the playful animals in the countryside, and the people who filled my life. But there was something about drawing that felt incomplete. It was all black and white, a world without the vibrant colors that surrounded me. That's when I discovered the world of paint. The workshop at Verrocchio's was filled with colorful pigments, bright blues, fiery reds, sunny yellows, and deep, mysterious purples. These powders were like tiny jewels waiting to be unleashed on a canvas. Verrocchio, seeing my fascination, taught me how to mix these pigments with water or egg yolk to create paints. He showed me different techniques for applying them, with brushes of various sizes, with smooth strokes or tiny dots, thick layers for bold colors or thin washes for softer shades. My first attempts at painting were clumsy, of course. My figures looked more like lopsided blobs than graceful people, and my landscapes resembled a child's scribbles. But with each attempt, I learned something new. I practiced mixing colors to create the exact shade I wanted, experimented with different brushstrokes to capture details or create texture, and learned how to layer colors to create depth and realism. One of the things I loved most about painting was the way colors could evoke emotions. A bright red could represent anger or passion, while a gentle blue could suggest peace or calmness. I played with the contrast between light and dark colors, understanding how they could create a sense of depth and space in a painting. Verrocchio often gave me tasks to help him with his own paintings. I might grind pigments into fine powder, prepare canvases, or even paint small background details. Working alongside him, I learned a lot about composition. The way elements are arranged in a painting to create a pleasing visual experience. I observed how he used light and shadow to create a sense of drama, and how he captured the emotions of his subjects in their expressions and gestures. As my skills grew, I started working on my own paintings. My subjects came from all aspects of life: portraits of people with interesting faces, scenes from everyday life in bustling Florence, landscapes that captured the beauty of the Tuscan countryside. I even painted imaginary creatures, fueled by my fascination with mythology and the natural world. One of the most important things I learned about painting was the art of observation. To create realistic paintings, I needed to train my eyes to see the world around me in detail. I studied how light fell on objects, creating highlights and shadows. I observed the subtle changes in color as light shifted throughout the day. I also paid close attention to the human form. How did people stand, sit, walk, and express their emotions through their body language? I spent hours sketching people in the streets, in markets, and even in churches, capturing their movements and expressions. Painting wasn't just about copying what I saw. It was about interpreting the world and expressing my own ideas and emotions. I used colors and shapes to tell stories, evoke feelings, and create a sense of wonder. My goal wasn't just to create beautiful pictures. It was to use them to make people think, feel, and question the world around them. My journey with painting was a lifelong exploration. With each brushstroke, I discovered new possibilities and pushed the boundaries of what art could achieve. It was a way for me to express the curiosity that burned within me, to share my vision of the world, and to leave a lasting legacy. The world of painting wasn't just a canvas and some colors. It was a portal to endless creativity, a language that could be understood by all, a way to capture the beauty and complexity of the world around us. Chapter 7. A Timeless Masterpiece, The Last Supper. One of the most important projects I ever undertook was painting The Last Supper. It was a huge task, a massive painting that would depict a scene from the Bible. Jesus Christ sharing his final meal with his 12 disciples before his arrest. The painting was commissioned by Duke Ludovico Sforza, a powerful ruler in Milan, Italy. He wanted it displayed on a wall in the dining hall of a church called Santa Maria del Grazie. It was a place where people would gather to eat and pray, and the painting would serve as a constant reminder of a significant moment in Christian history. I took this project very seriously. The Last Supper wasn't just a story. It was a scene filled with emotions, sadness, confusion, even betrayal. I wanted to capture these emotions on the faces of Jesus and his disciples, creating a painting that would resonate with viewers for centuries to come. Before I even picked up a brush, I spent a long time planning and sketching. I studied the Bible, reading different accounts of the Last Supper. I imagined the scene in detail, the long table, the simple room, the expressions on the faces of the disciples. I filled notebooks with sketches, trying to capture the perfect composition and the way each figure would be positioned. One of the biggest challenges was finding the right models for the painting. Jesus, of course, had to portray a sense of divinity and calm wisdom. The disciples each had their own personalities, and I wanted their faces to reflect those personalities in the moment they learned one of them would betray Jesus. For weeks, I walked the streets of Milan, searching for people with the qualities I was looking for. I found an old man with kind eyes for Jesus, a young man with a fiery expression for the impulsive Peter, and a man with a sorrowful face for Judas, the disciple who would betray Jesus. The painting itself was a massive undertaking. The wall I was painting on was huge, and I had to work on a platform high above the ground. I experimented with different techniques, trying to find a way to make the paint last for centuries on the unforgiving stone wall. As I worked, I imagined myself being present at the Last Supper. I tried to feel the emotions of the scene, the tension in the air, the weight of the impending betrayal. With each brushstroke, I poured these feelings onto the canvas, bringing the scene to life. It took me several years to complete the painting. Every detail, from the folds of the tablecloth to the expressions on the disciples' faces, received my full attention. I wanted to create a masterpiece that would not only be beautiful but also deeply moving. The Last Supper became one of my most famous works. Even today, centuries after it was painted, people come from all over the world to see it. The painting has endured through wars, restorations, and even damage caused by neglect and time. Yet, its power to evoke emotions and tell a story remains undimmed. Looking back, I am proud of The Last Supper. It wasn't just a painting. It was a testament to my dedication to art and my desire to create something that would touch the hearts and minds of viewers for generations to come. Chapter 8. The Lady with the Secret Smile, Mona Lisa. One of my most famous paintings, and perhaps the most well-known in the entire world, is the Mona Lisa. I began working on this portrait sometime around 1503, and it became a project that captivated me for years. The subject of the painting is believed to be Lisa Gherardini, the wife of a wealthy Florentine merchant. The Mona Lisa is a half-length portrait, meaning it only shows Lisa from the waist up. She sits in a chair, her hands folded in her lap. The most striking thing about the painting is her smile. It's a small, mysterious smile that seems to change depending on the angle you look at it. Some people see happiness in her smile, while others see sadness or even a hint of mischief. The technique I used in the Mona Lisa is called sfumato. It involves blending colors very softly, creating a hazy and almost dreamlike effect. This technique contributes to the overall mysteriousness of the painting. Unlike most portraits of the time, which had clear outlines and sharp details, the Mona Lisa seems to fade into the background, making her appear even more enigmatic. There are many stories and theories about the Mona Lisa's smile. Some say she's happy, others believe she's pregnant. A common reason for women to smile in portraits back then. Some even believe the smile is a trick of the light or an illusion created by the way our brains process the image. What makes the Mona Lisa so special is that it leaves room for interpretation. Unlike a painting that tells a clear story, the Mona Lisa invites viewers to create their own narrative. Who is she? What is she thinking? What secrets does her smile hold? These are questions that have captivated art lovers for centuries. While I never revealed the meaning behind the Mona Lisa's smile, I spent a long time working on this painting, and I never actually finished it. I kept making small changes and adjustments, always trying to capture something perfect and elusive. Perhaps that's why the painting continues to fascinate people centuries later. It's a work of art that seems to hold a secret, a hidden message that everyone wants to understand. The Mona Lisa wasn't just a portrait. It was a culmination of everything I had learned about art up to that point. I used my knowledge of anatomy to create a realistic and lifelike figure. I experimented with light and shadow to create depth and mystery. And I poured my own curiosity and desire to understand the human spirit into the painting. The Mona Lisa's journey after I created it is quite interesting. For many years, it remained in my possession, traveling with me wherever I went. Eventually, it was acquired by the French royal family and became part of the collection at the Louvre Museum in Paris. Today, it is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the world, seen by millions of people every year. The Mona Lisa is a reminder of the power of art to capture a person's essence and create a lasting impression. It's a painting that continues to spark conversation, inspire artists, and leave viewers wondering about the secrets it holds. And who knows, maybe one day, someone will finally unlock the mystery behind the Mona Lisa's enigmatic smile. Chapter 9. A Life of Never-Ending Exploration. Looking back on my life, it wasn't defined by titles or achievements. It was a life driven by a constant, insatiable curiosity about the world around me. From the rolling hills of Vinci to the bustling streets of Florence and Milan, everywhere I went, I found something new to learn, something new to explore. My notebooks became my constant companions, filled with sketches, observations, and ideas. I wrote about the movement of birds, the structure of flowers, the way light danced on water. No detail was too small, no question too insignificant. The world was a giant puzzle, and I was determined to understand how all the pieces fit together. This curiosity wasn't just about acquiring knowledge. It was about using that knowledge to create something new. My inventions, though many never made it past the drawing board, were a testament to my desire to push boundaries and solve problems. I envisioned flying machines that would soar through the sky, submarines that would explore the depths of the ocean, and machines that would make life easier for people. While some might have called me a dreamer, I saw myself as a problem solver. The world was full of challenges: how to build stronger bridges, how to travel faster, how to heal the sick. I believe that through observation, experimentation, and a little bit of imagination, we could find solutions to these problems and make the world a better place. My journey wasn't always easy. Dissecting bodies in secret, questioning established beliefs, and pursuing unconventional ideas often put me at odds with the status quo. However, I never let fear or doubt hold me back. My passion for knowledge burned too brightly to be extinguished. The world of art was another outlet for my curiosity. Through painting, I could explore emotions, tell stories, and capture the beauty of the world around me. I experimented with different techniques, from the delicate sfumato in the Mona Lisa to the lifelike realism of The Last Supper. Each painting was a new challenge, a chance to push my limits and create something unique. As I grew older, I realized that knowledge wasn't meant to be hoarded. It was meant to be shared. I took on apprentices, young minds eager to learn and explore the world. I shared my knowledge of anatomy, engineering, and art, hoping to inspire them to pursue their own passions. My legacy wasn't just in the paintings I created or the inventions I sketched. It was in the minds I influenced, the seeds of curiosity I planted. It was in the belief that anyone with a thirst for knowledge and a willingness to explore could achieve great things. The world continues to be a place of wonder and endless possibilities. New discoveries are made every day, pushing the boundaries of what we know and what we can achieve. I hope my story serves as an inspiration to future generations to never stop asking questions, to never stop exploring, and to never stop dreaming of a better future. There's so much more to discover in the world. The secrets of the universe, the workings of the human mind, the potential that lies within each of us. The journey of exploration is never truly over, and the more we learn, the more we realize how much there is still to know. So, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep creating, and the world will continue to unfold its wonders before you.